a $230 million check, your money. There he is, Donald Trump. What's he want this time? He didn't taken enough. This time he's demanding the Justice Department pay him $230 million for past cases. Him. Transfer the money. Here's my Zelle, ACH, however. The money goes into his account. Donald Trump says he could be seeking $230 million from his own Justice Department. And make no mistake about it, it's his Justice Department. It's a money grab. It could be. Trump responded when asked by CNN's Caitlin Collins about a New York Times report that he was seeking the money in connection with complaints he had filed about past DOJ investigations. Watch this.
New York Times is reporting that your legal team is seeking $230 million from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigations into you. Is that something you want your legal team to do?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity, any money. But look, what they did, they rigged the election. And as you know, we had, in one case, 60 Minutes had to pay us a lot of money. George Slobodanopoulos had to pay us a lot of money, and they already paid. They paid me a lot of money because what they did was wrong. And, when somebody does what's wrong. Now, with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, that decision would have to go across my desk.
So much to break down there. I mean, would you really give it to charity? No, that's a lie. You might use charity money to commission a portrait of yourself. You did that before, right? Ask Letitia James, right? There's so much here, folks, and we'll chronicle it for you, the details. President Donald Trump is pressing for his Justice Department to pay roughly $230 million as a settlement for investigations he faced during the Biden administration and his first term in office, according to sources familiar with the matter, confirmed to ABC News Tuesday. The extraordinary arrangement, as first reported by the New York Times, would likely first need sign-off from top officials in the department who previously served as Trump's defense attorneys, otherwise represented his allies. Do you see what I mean by the fix is in? Got a friendly face over there. Sign this check. Settlement negotiations stem from two separate administrative claims that were submitted by attorneys for Trump while he was out of office in 2023 and 2024. One sought damages over the investigation he and those in his orbit faced, surrounding ties his 2016 campaign had to the Russian government. Folks, where's the lie? You want to take me down a rabbit hole of details and something and hiccups. Where's the lie? Okay? The caviar and the Russian vodka, it was flowing, metaphorically. Second claim related to accusations that he was prosecuted maliciously by then special counsel Jack Smith, and that his privacy rights were violated when the FBI searched his Mar-a-Lago estate for classified documents in August 2022. Your privacy, because they went into the toilet area where you stored them. What are you talking about? In an appearance in the Oval Office last week with Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, that's his crew right there. It's his crew. One gal and a couple of guys. They do what he says. Trump appeared to allude to the negotiations and the unusual nature of Justice Department paying out a settlement to the current sitting president. I have a lawsuit that was doing very well. When I became president, I said, I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know. How do you settle the lawsuit? I'll say, give me X dollars, and I don't know what to do with the lawsuit, Trump said. It sort of looks bad. I'm suing myself, right? Stop playing dumb, homie. You know exactly what's going on. You don't know. You just talked about it with your crew, Pam and them. According to the Justice Manual, any settlement would have to get sign off from either the Deputy Attorney General his boy, or the associate attorney general. Trump pleaded not guilty in both cases before both were dropped following his reelection. Not because the cases weren't valid, because it's their long-standing policy, which I don't really want to hear about policy. I just follow the law. Yank him up out of there if he committed a crime. Long-standing Justice Department policy barring the prosecution of a sitting president. What if he's a criminal? Does that make sense to you? If the only brown president had done some of these things, do you honestly think they wouldn't have adjusted the policy? Asking for a friend. Scott Jennings. This is strange. Now, this might be the strangest part of the story. Scott Jennings is warning Trump to slow down, pump the brakes on chasing that massive payout. Let's hear it, Scott.
Scott, I mean, do you think that that is something that should ever happen in this country?
I don't know if it's true, if it has to come across his desk or not. However, because it is an unprecedented situation.
But do you think he should get paid by the Justice Department? That's the question.
My personal advice, if he asked me, would be have him table this until you leave office. The process started before you came to office. You then won an election. And I think maybe he was damaged and he's entitled to the process. If it were me and I were advising him, I would just say, you could table it and put it off until you leave office.
Wow. I think he mostly kept with his persona there, kissing butt to the president and disregarding most stuff, but he made some sense. Senator, you've been in the company of Scott and others, often sought after, be a commentator on mainstream and other media outlets. What say you about first of all, Trump playing dumb in the Oval Office, his gang that's going to sign off on this. So I'd like to get your answer on the chances that this happens. And then Scott, if you could just kind of make it all make sense for us.
Sharon, this is outrageous. Now the president know he needs to stop it. President Donald J. Trump, you won. Sir, you won. Please, for the love of God, let this go. And yes, I've been with Scott many, many times. Scott and I actually get along. We fight on TV, but we actually get along. And Scott is right on this. I wish he had answered a little more directly. He went around the mulberry bush just a little bit. But he came back around, Sharon, and just said, come on, Mr. President, just settle this when you get out of office. But what I would say to the president, why do you have to settle this at all? You won. He just will not accept the fact that he has won. You won the popular vote that the Democrats lost for the first time in 20 years. You won the Electoral College. You're doing all the things you said you were going to do. A lot of those things, Mr. President, are not right. Okay, you got 3.5 more, a little less than 3 years, or a little less than 4 years to turn some of this stuff around and use some of that bravado for good. However, you are doing, sir, everything you said that you were going to do, and yet you are still whining and complaining about what happened to you and how the system was rigged, instead of just accepting the fact. Sharon, I was told, the best success is the win. He won. Let it go. And it doesn't even look good for you to try to get 250 million of the taxpayers' dollars. Just let it go. And Sharon, as far as that Justice Department, they're going to roll over because you got one or two things. And I'm being sincere when I say this. When you work for an elected official, as those people do, you got two choices. Either you advise your principal, and I would like to think that some of them, because I think Scott would behind the scenes say, Mr. President, this is my advice. I think exactly what he told Abby he would say to the president. However, ultimately it's up to the principal what they decide to do. Now, if you work for an elected official in particular, you can give them your advice. Ultimately, it's up to them if they take it. Now, if you want to go against them, then you got to leave your job. So, Sharon, that's why these people in the Justice Department, they don't want to lose their job. People got to work, so they're going to do whatever this president tells them to do, just like any other administration as well. I mean, I'm thinking about Karine Pierre some of them lies she set up there and told for Biden. So what I am
Now
saying
you got a book out.
in this
Now you got a book out,
environment.
sis.
Say again, Sharon.
I apologize for talking over you. I said it triggered me when you mentioned her. And now you got a book out, sis, and you're doing this dance in the pages trying to figure out. But you said this, and now you did, but you didn't see it, and now you quit the party. It's very convoluted.
I mean, she went in, and again, when you serve a principal, especially in a public facing, so if you're a cabinet member or you are the press secretary, and Sharon, that's your realm of expertise. She had to get out there just like this person that's representing Trump is doing. You represent your principal, and unless you are prepared to leave your job, and this is real, I'm not trying to be flip. Unless you are prepared to find new employment, you have to do what the principal asks you to do. And so for us on the outside, it may seem crazy and insane, but people need to work. Some people need to work, and some people will sell their souls. And I'm not saying any of these people are. Maybe some of them are true believers on this nonsense. But the president of the United States of America, now, Mr. President, you know better. You won, accept it. I don't get it, Sharon. I hope that he let this go. Because you know who's going to get penalized for this? The taxpayers.
Yeah.
Because he's right. The Department of Justice. So the taxpayers, the people that he ran to serve, are going to be penalized because the president of these United States of America cannot accept his victory. And this is not TYT family, Indisputable family. This is not about whether you voted for him or not. That's not what Sharon and I are discussing. It is how will this president comport himself through the rest of his presidency? And why is he holding on to this grudge so much so that he's willing not just to go after individuals who are outside the federal government, but he's willing to try to take taxpayers' dollars along the way? Sharon, I just hope he would draw the line on some of this.
I think he's a king, and king gone king, okay? He not trying to hear that. Let it go, Elsa. It's not going to happen. He's not going to let it go. Now, I don't know if the government has to officially be open for the check to be cut, but you mark my words, it's going to be cut in short order. Oh, and did you have a belly laugh on were you doubled over on the I'll give it to charity? Asking, just letting it float out there. I didn't need an answer. We all see it.
I mean, Sharon, but he's still hurting that doesn't make it right, sir. President Trump, please listen to Scott Jennings, okay? Listen to my dear friend Scott. Please, sir, let it go. And even when he get out of office, Sharon, he should just go and let this go. For the love of God, I'm calling on.
You got all the McDonald's, all the Taco Bell you want to eat. You got the money to crypto. Your boys on TikTok.
He got it all. He has it all. He defied the odds in this last election.
He did.
And he won. And he's still angry. He's an angry white man, isn't he?
He's angry. And it's part of a trend. Never admit defeat.